test, I don't remember anything. It's crazy. Like, all my 99s are just gonna go right out the door, man. No, no, no. Why me? Why me? Oh man, I'm gonna fall asleep. You know what? I'm gonna just lay down, take a nice nap. Hopefully it'll just come back to me, right? Let's try it out. Pause it. So, I know what you're thinking. Why am I in your dream? How can you see yourself in your own dreams? Well, that doesn't matter right now. What matters is this test. And honestly, you're in a bad slope right now. You're in bad shape. You need to know this topic because on the final, from my past experience, because I'm in the future and you're in the past, you're gonna get that question wrong. And I'm here to help you with that. So I need you to understand that you need to pay attention and you need to successfully understand everything. Are you ready for this? So, here, Frankie, I know you're having a lot of trouble with conic sections, and especially graphing hyperbolas. And I'm going to help you with that right away because I'm letting you know right now this is going to be on the test, and you have to get these questions right. So, I have a set of focus questions for you to really show you the basics and to really get your mind thinking. So, the first question is, what is a hyperbola? Well, a hyperbola is a set of points where the difference of the two distances from the two fixed points is constant. That's number one. So that's a hyperbola in itself. Now, what is the standard form? The standard form is this: x minus h over a squared minus y minus k over b squared equals 1. But there's another way. It could be y minus k squared, make sure everything is here squared, for a squared minus x minus h squared over b squared equals 1. Notice how the a's do not switch out. You always need to have an a. The only difference is that the x and the y switches places. Now, what is that? So, you're probably wondering, what do these graphs mean and how it's going to translate on the actual graph itself? Well, here's what you need to know. If your x is positive, your graph is going to look something like this. If your y is positive, your graph will be vertical, so up and down. So these are very important, and when you're looking at these type of problems, don't get discouraged. All of the information you need comes from the standard form itself. So let's give you a problem. So x minus 2 squared over 9 minus y minus 1 squared over 16 equals 1. Same concept. So first, let's find the center because that's the easiest thing to do. Your center comes from these two parentheses. In order to find your x and y, or hk, equal this to 0. Add both sides, x equals 2. So that's your h. Y for the same thing, and to skip that, your y will be 1. So your center is 2, 1. Easy. Now, let's find our vertices. To find your vertices, you have to look at your a and b values because those tell you what direction you need to go in. Since this is your a value, that's 9, which is a squared. The square root of 9 is 3, so a equals 3. And since it's under your x, left and right. Same concept for the y, but in this case, a squared equals 16, b squared equals 16, b equals 4. So from the center, you'll be going 4 up and down. Okay, so you have your center, and you know what direction you're going to. So using these two informations, you could find out your vertices. So how do you exactly do that? Well, first you take your center, which is 2, 1, and then you go about your process. So for the a value, it will be 2 plus minus 3, 1. And that's for your a. For your y, you do the same thing, but it's a little bit different. So use your center again, 2, 3 plus minus 4. These two vertices will make your graph more accurate, and it gives you the information where to plot your points, which is very important. So now we're going to find our asymptotes. So there are two ways for the asymptotes. It's y minus k equals plus minus a over b x minus h, or y minus k equals plus minus b over a x minus h. Now you're wondering, well, how do you get the a over b and b over a? When we really graph these type of problems, you use your rise over run rules. Using those rules, you'll be able to find out which direction you're going in and what to use. And then your x minus h comes directly from the problem itself. So you're good to go. So now you know how to find your vertices, your asymptotes. The only thing you have to do now is find your foci, which are those two set points that are equidistant from each other. The equation for foci is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Looks familiar, right? Because that's your Pythagorean theorem. So use the information they give you. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. So 9 plus 16 equals 25. C squared equals 25. C equals 5. So that's your foci. That's your C value, excuse me. To find your foci, just do this. 2 plus or minus 5, parentheses 1. And that's your foci. So now, we have everything we need to know, and everything algebraically is set up for us. Now comes the more fun part, which is actually graphing the conic section itself. So now, we're up to the graphing part. So the first step is plot your center, and your center is 2, 1, so 1, 2, 1. Bang, right there. Now, how do you plot the vertices? Well, there are two types of ways. You could either use the equation they give you and just use your a and b values, or like we did before, have the algebraic approach, which is right here. Your 2 plus minus 3 and 1. Whatever feels most comfortable for you. So we'll use the equation itself so it could translate better to your test. So remember, the equation was x minus 2 squared over 9 minus y minus 1 squared over 16 equals 1. Your a value equals 3, b value equals 4. So now, a value, remember, is left to right. So right 3, left 3. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Always remember to start with your center. Don't go anywhere else. Now, starting from the center, up 4, down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bang. Now, this is where you draw your imaginary box, as your teacher, Miss McKenna, once said. So make sure it's nice and accurate. Get all those lines. One thing to note as well, make sure when you're doing these type of problems that all your vertices are correct and that you're not doing anything incorrect. Now you draw your asymptotes in a diagonal line that passes through the center. Do not go anywhere else but through the center. If you do that, you're going to make a mistake and you're going to fail the test. And I don't want you to do that because I'm you. Bang. So now we're ready to graph this. Using our vertices, we start here and we just draw the asymptotes, right? Like that. There. Sorry, that was really bad. Oh. So it looks something just like that. I know it's a little bit sloppy, but you get the idea. Just remember, start with what they give you, and then work your way towards the problem. So that's how your graph's gonna look like. Now, let's say they ask you what's the asymptote. This is where I told you the up and down rule, or your rise over run rule, really matters. So y minus k equals plus minus A over B, or B over A, and then x minus h. So now, from the center, here we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like the next point is 3. So using that information, we know that we're using B over A because 4 is our B value and 4 is our B value and A is the 3. So now using that, we get y minus k equals plus minus 4 over 3 x minus h. Now, where do we put all the other numbers? Easy thing, use the equation they give you. So y minus k, which is just 1, y minus 1, parentheses, equals plus minus 4 over 3, and then your x over h comes directly from the problem. And bang, there you go. Now, without that out the way, here's some practice problems for you. Try these 5. The challenge, you have to use the process of completing the square to solve it. It looks difficult, but if you give it a shot, you'll understand it. So now, Frankie, I hope that helped you. You should wake up now, do the practice problems. I have everything ready for you. And if you need me, just think about me, which is kind of weird, but just think about yourself, and maybe I'll pop up. Man, what the heck? That was really weird, but I understand it now. I think I'm ready for this test. Thank you to myself. I am a really good teacher. I didn't really know that, man. Well, let's get this 99.